Hello, so it is live coding number 2, and as always, please don't watch this video because I'm recording it for myself, for the sake of my own practice. And I'm so very tired right now, but it is one of my non-negotiables to record this live coding video for 30 minutes every day, so I'm going for it. Okay, and I'm gonna eat some sweet food along the way. The last time we have discussed, I have a monologue about PHP Storm and different code editors and the differences between, let me set actually the timer, and the differences between free code editor and paid IDE for development. And then we spend a little bit of time in the code editor that PHP Storm gives us. And we created this navigation bar that consists of 3 links, and all of them are pointing to the games that I liked or played. Now I'm actually playing Hades. I want to drink tea, but also I want to record this live session. It's hard. I ate one of the pieces that my cookie, one of the pieces of my cookie, and it has hair of my dog, so it's disgusting. So what do we have here? We have a perfect HTML5 page, and what I now did is I selected all the code in this current file with the help of a shortcut, Command A on the Mac, and then I pressed Option Command L, which is for code reformatting, and here's the shortcut. So if you're in Windows, you can go to the code menu and find this reformat code option here, and also learn the shortcut because here PHP Storm very conveniently displays us the shortcut. Okay, so now I'm struggling with this the wrapper of with the cookies wrapper. And there are actually many different convenient actions in this under this code menu inside. This one is PHP specific. Okay, so I reformatted the code of the whole file. But really, what I was aiming at is this style element. I wasn't happy having this element in the same indentation level as the head element, because we have some nesting here and the style element is inside the head. Element. So according to some conventions, which I really don't know yet, this version looks better, and I really like these crackers. These crackers, they are good. So according to some conventions, making code look like this is better. So we've got these 1, 2, 3 styles and also the UL element. And why aren't you shifting or moving this UL element 1 level with indentation right or to the right? This is interesting. What also is interesting is that we've used tag selectors here, and let me quickly go over the explanation of what a tag selector is. And actually, a selector in HTML or in CSS or in general so a selector in CSS is an instruction, a piece of text that tells CSS what HTML elements to find or to search for. So this selector, for example, looks for or searches for all the UL elements. For all UL elements on the page. And which are unsorted lists. And then after we tell CSS what we are looking for, what elements we are looking for, then we can also tell CSS, or the browser with help of CSS, is that what we are going to change about those elements. So we search for some elements and then we say, I want to change this, this, and that about these elements. And in this case, let's start with the body, this body CSS rule. So in this case, we are looking for, or we are searching for, or we are pointing to, I like it better. We're pointing to all the body HTML elements on this page. And then between these curly braces, we tell the browser that what we want to change about this body element. And when I hover over, and then, so we are, what we're changing actually, we have a list of things that we want to change. And this list of things is very simple. It can be very simple. Their combinations can be quite complex, but stay with me for a second. So a list of things that we want to change. This is one item in that list. So it's one thing that we want to change. And here we're changing the margin of this element. So it's the name of the thing that we want to, of the property that we want to change. Then this is the value that we want. It's a new value that we want to set for this, for this property. And we separate the name of the property from the value, the actual value, with help of a colon sign, the colon sign, or a colon. And this semicolon, it's after each item in the list of the things that we want to change, we put the semicolon. So this is one, and this item in this list of things that we want to change. So this row, this selected area in CSS, it's called a declaration. It is a declaration of the thing that we want to change and its new value. So here we're setting the margin to 0. So what's margin? And when I hover over this margin, PHP Storm shows this box, this area, this information box. I would say like quick summary of what's margin. What is margin? The margin, it says in the margin CSS shorthand property sets the margin area on all four sides of an element. And if I click on this, we go to the MDN, and here you can see this introduction to the CSS basic box model. And I actually haven't seen this, so let me check this out. When laying out a document, the browser's rendering engine represents each element as a rectangular box according to the standard CSS basic box model. CSS determines the size, position, and properties, color, background, border size, etc. of these boxes. Every box is composed of 4 parts or areas defined by their respective edges. The content edge, the padding edge, border edge, and margin edge. And the content area goes first. The content area bounded by the content edge contains the real content of the element, such as text, an image, or a video player. Its dimensions are the content width and the content height, or content box, or the content height, or content box height. It often has a background color or background image. If the box sizing properties is set to blah blah blah, so this is all great and wonderful, and maybe the language here is clear to experienced programmers, not CSS, but like in general, they've encountered this term, for example, rendering engine and other things. But for a beginner, this is all can be gibberish. But okay, so margin, we set margin to 0. It's some area around, let's go simple. So it is some area around the body element. Next, and one more thing, we have a selector, so what elements we want to influence, change. Then we have a list of declarations, a list of things that we want to change. So the area between the curly braces that includes the curly braces is called a declaration block. So declaration block with declarations, selector, they both, like two of them, create a so-called what's called a CSS rule. So this is one CSS rule, and I can have, for example, multiple different CSS rules that point to the body element, and that change some of its properties. So let's say, let me copy that and write another CSS rule, and it's, well, let's go simpler here. It says something like padding 20 pixels. Now, okay, I need pixels in lowercase. Now we have two CSS rules that are changing. The first one is changing the margin, and the second one is changing the padding of a CSS element. So they affect, influence, change, set, each set like some properties of the body element. And now if I refresh the page, there is this there is this padding transparent area that's like, there is this padding area that's transparent. And so two different CSS rules that point to one or multiple same CSS selectors. One second. I need to put cream on my hands because сонечко вже пізно буде, помасажуйся зараз. Ну, там скільки є помасажуйся, чому? And so we've got two CSS rules, and they target the same HTML elements. In our case, the same HTML element. And this is okay, this is possible, this is CSS. Welcome to the magical world of possibilities. Okay, but I'm not gonna go down this path. So let me remove the second CSS rule. Great. Now the padding is gone. Okay, we've got the next CSS rule, which is the selector is again a tag selector, UL. And then what's interesting about this declaration block, because it has more than one declarations, more than one items in the declaration block. So it changes many things about this, about UL elements. So the first property it changes, it sets the display property to flex. And this means that our UL, or like all the UL elements on our page, but in our case it's one UL element because we don't have more. This UL element becomes a flex box container. And I'm not going to explain Flexbox just yet, because it's a huge topic and complicated, and it has many details about it. So maybe I will explain it a bit later, but this turns our UL element from a block, from a simple block level element into a flex box container. Many different rules additional. So this UL element starts to functioning differently. And how differently? Well, first of all, the UL elements, or the LI elements, so they were before that like this. So they were all aligned vertically. So they went like one after another vertically. They are now in horizontal position here. So they're now here, go one after another horizontally. And they also are centered, and there is this gap between them. So we can configure many things. We can that are happening to the flex items, to the items inside this container. They become flex items. So they are children of this UL element. So these list items become, well, first of all, they were. So there is this UL container, the UL element, and the list items are its children. And when we turned our UL element from being a block level element to a flex box container, those child list items, they had become flex items. And it's a completely different story about what are those flex items and what we can do with them. For now, what I want you to know is that this is a amazing thing, amazing technology, amazing topic and feature. Next, the next property that we changed here is we set the list style to none. And what this does, so by default, it's, I don't know, so bullets, what are the values? So there are probably many values for the list style. So I would say the default one was circle, but I'm wondering what's about Armenian. So this is another option for the list style. But let's see what other values we have. Armenian circle, conic gradient. I'm not sure what's what to do with conic gradient, but let's see. CSS opens us a world of possibilities. So let's see what we can do with it. And it is, okay, let me see that. Background. So conic gradient, it seems to be a function that produces some sort of an image. Wow. This is wow. It's conic gradient. For example, who would have thought that we can do this for our list items? But I am curious, what's about the browser support of this conic gradient feature? Wow. And what else can we do with it? Can we do something like wet? Wow. This is, I really like it. It looks beautiful. And can we set it to our list items? We can do this. So this conic gradient seems to be looks like a very powerful feature, and it's hard to, but let's see, let's set background. Let's use this here. Wow. Repeat no. Repeat none. No repeat. Let's remove the repeat. Oh, okay. No repeat. We need to set it here. So I'm so in love with this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'd love to have a div which is gonna be our Koenig background, and this is just an empty div, and I want to use an ID selector which we haven't discussed yet. So this is all fascinating, and I will make the Koenig background to be fixed, position fixed. The background is okay, but left. Oh, let's start with top 0, right 0, bottom 0, left 0. Let's see what we have. Wow, now this looks beautiful. But also what I want to do is I'd like to have it to set its Z index to -1, because we want to see our navigation bar. But this is amazing. This is like the colors. Can you see them? They are like stunning, and I like this line, how it all looks. So it's so like this stylish, amazing, great. So this modern CSS, it just blows my mind. And we can actually, probably, I bet that we can change it from being something like 100. Can we do it? Like, how to change the line? And 10. I don't actually. 50. Oh. Okay, so I can change it to 0. And okay, but 20. All right. So if we say this, and then I would say something like Koenig background active, and let's see. This is actually, yes, transition background, like all 0.5 seconds, and let's see whether it. Okay, no, it's not. Yeah, it's hard for him to let's set background, but I bet that it won't. It doesn't know that it's not this intelligent. And this is it for today's live coding session.